My name's Ethan Spazarski,
I'm Joey Priano.
and today's episode is an exciting one I have been dying to do since the Super Bowl ended and the Rams held the Lombardi Trophy high above their heads in their home stadium of SoFi. I am excited for this episode, Joey. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm excited.
I can tell. I know you're very excited. I'm super excited for the NFL season, and so that's what we'll be talking about: fantasy football mock drafts. I love fantasy football. This is the most excited I've been going into an NFL season so far. But yeah, I'm really excited to get into this.
I am as well. Again, before we begin, thank you if you're on YouTube. Thank you if you're on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment if any ideas, anything you like, dislike, whatnot. Bleed your heart into our comment section. We appreciate everything. And if you're on Spotify, head over to YouTube if you need to comment anything. If you're listening on Spotify, though, we do obviously appreciate the support. So as Joey mentioned before, today, mock draft day. We got two mock drafts here for you guys ready to go. Again, whenever you start talking about fantasy football, it means the regular season's about to start. We're about 2 weeks away from kickoff out in SoFi, where the Buffalo Bills are traveling out to the Super Bowl champs, LA Rams, out in SoFi, where they will take on each other in a very exciting first game matchup versus the Super Bowl heavy favorite Buffalo Bills versus the Super Bowl, obviously, as mentioned before, defending champions LA Rams. Nonetheless, we're going to get back on track here with our mock draft stuff here. And again, if you're on YouTube, you're seeing this visual. If you're on Spotify, you don't. But that doesn't matter because we're still spitting some facts. And with my first pick, this pick, I chose to go, I randomized it. But for my first mock draft pick, I was in the number 4 spot. And then for my second one, I was in the number 7 spot. Joey, tell everybody where you were.
I was in the number 2 spot, and then I believe I was in the number 10 spot. I will double check though.
Okay. So either way, we put ourselves in different positions, try to see where you could get maybe the best team, where you get the best guys. What you're going to get. So at the number 4 spot with my first overall pick, and I did not put them down, which is on me. I should have written them down whenever we drafted them, but I'll pick for me. I go running back, and I went Dalvin Cook. To me, it's pretty simple. I like to go running back, wide receiver, then tight end. And then maybe and keep getting some weapons before I go around picking anybody else. To me, it's important to get a good ground game, though, because I feel like the run game is underappreciated, and there are a lot of high-value guys and even a lot of really good guys who may not be the best but aren't definitely not the worst running backs in this league. So you got to go after at least one high-value running back, and I feel Dalvin Cook was a great pick for that. Joey, you went with Derrick Henry, though.
I did. I am probably so this, as I said, I was correct. I have the number 2 pick in this one, and then in our other draft, I had the number 10 pick. I think that if I had the number 1 pick, I'm still taking Derrick Henry. And I think what is crazy is that if I picked at the number 6 spot, I still probably could have ended up with Derrick Henry because he's dropping that far. And I understand that he's dropping. He only played 8 games last year, obviously, but he finished in the top 10 in rushes.
And he led the NFL in rushing for 3 weeks after he was injured. So
yeah. And that production to me is just crazy. He almost had 1,000 yards in 8 games almost. And if he would have played 9, he would have hit 1,000 yards. Derrick Henry to me is just the best player. I understand. So you gave your draft strategy. So I guess I'll give mine. So I like to draft what's called robust RB, which basically means I'm drafting running backs as much as I can. And
you can't catch me. No, sorry, I was trying to.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. To me, running backs are so valuable in fantasy football because after you get past like the 3rd, 4th round, you're not going to get a good running back. It just doesn't happen. They're going to fall off, and you can get wide receivers late because the wide receiver depth is really high. Like what I look for in wide receivers is I want to get the wide receiver 1 on a football team, right? So I want to have the top target on a team. I can wait till the 6th round and get, or I think I took him in the 6th round, maybe 6th or 5th, or I think it was the 6th. I can wait till the 6th round. And like you see, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is the number one target for the Lions. He's their number one guy. And I waited 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks for him. So I waited 7 picks for him. So I got him in the 7th round. And he's my wide receiver number 2 on my team. And he's the number 1 wide receiver on his team. So I like to draft running backs heavy because let's see if we had any examples. We didn't have any examples of it in our 2 drafts. But if you wait on running backs, you're going to end up like with guys like Antonio Gibson, who obviously is a fairly good player, but I don't want him starting on my fantasy team every single week.
Yeah, that's not going to get you a lot of yards, especially when you're on a more when you have a speedy quarterback, a guy who's more mobile, who also tries to get out of the ball, and they need to get reps. And of course, they drafted Jahan Dotson. They have Scary Terry. There's a lot of guys who need those reps and have that talented background in the receiving game. So, if I feel that with Dalvin as well, if they can stay healthy, these are 2 of the best running backs in the entire league. We mentioned
if they can stay healthy. That's a big if.
Just to give ourselves clout real quick, we did do top 10 running backs in the NFL. If you want to head back to YouTube, it's on YouTube to check that episode out. Give it a like if you agree with us. Let us know. Again, if you have any future episode recommendations as well. So I started with Dalvin. Then I kind of was thinking to myself, tight end, wide receiver. Sometimes I may switch it up, but it's either tight end, wide receiver, and then whatever pick I didn't go that one, I go to that position for my next pick. So I went Brandon Cooks as my number 1 receiver.
Are you sure?
I did.
Are you sure Aaron Jones wasn't your second pick?
I am sure.
Wow.
Because naturally I'm not high on Aaron Jones, but this year it's going to be interesting with Aaron Rodgers. But I'll get back to that in a minute.
And
I went Brandon Cooks, then I went Kyle Pitts. In this draft, this is all a simulation, so we didn't have like actual people. This is all robotic simulation.
It's a mock draft.
But yeah, so I went Brandon Cooks. I'm really excited to see his connection with Davis Mills, what he's going to do. Davis said on the Pat McAfee show, "Hey, look out for the Texans. We have a pretty good team down here. Got some good guys. So keep an eye on us in that division." It's not a crazy stacked division, but I'll sure to be looking now that Davis is mentioning something. But either way, I'm excited with the new running backs they got down there. I'm excited with this I forgot. I don't know why I forgot Brandon Cooks for a second, but with Brandon Cooks, and I'm excited to see what Davis Mills does. And then Kyle Pitts as well was really exciting to watch last year.
That's a good pick.
He's going to be targeted a lot, especially with the new quarterback at the helm at Marcus Mariota. And if Desmond Ridder is going to get any playing time, tight end is a quarterback's number 1 best friend. So they're going to go to that guy, especially when he's super athletic, tall, and he has great hands to catch the
football.
He's
virtually a wide receiver.
Exactly. He has all the descriptions of wide receiver, but he's starting at a tight end and he can block too. So Kyle Pitts was my 3rd overall pick there. Very excited to see what he does.
Yeah. So my top 3 were okay. So I had the number 2 pick, which means that whenever it came back around to me, I had to wait a while, but then I had 2 picks fairly back to back. So my strategy is I like to go running back first, definitely, and then go either running back or wide receiver with my second pick, and then with my third pick, take whichever ones I didn't. I'm gonna say that I am jealous that you got Kyle Pitts because I think that that's a really good tight end. So I think that although I usually wait on tight ends because my thought on tight ends is I got Dallas Goedert.
That's still round. Really good. He's still going to be. He's also exciting to watch too.
That was either the 5th or 6th round. So I'd rather wait and get another running back or wide receiver, opposed to getting a tight end that early. But I took Ezekiel Elliott with my second pick. I'm really, really high on it. Do you not like Ezekiel Elliott?
I'm not a fan of Zeke. I don't
in fantasy or in life?
I don't know. I mean, as a fantasy, because he's definitely a good running back, but he's not been consistent enough for me to draft him myself.
You're correct that he hasn't been consistent, but I think that this is his year. I'm really high on Ezekiel Elliott. I've seen training camp stuff. He looks really, really good. He ended up playing all 17 games last year, which I think is pretty impressive. He had 10 touchdowns, so he hit double digits. He hit 1,000 yards. I just like Ezekiel Elliott for this year. Amari Cooper's out of there, so that takes another big weapon away and makes room for him. People are talking about Tony Pollard, and I don't understand how people are talking about Tony Pollard because he's not it. I don't really get how people are drafting him.
I completely disagree with you.
Do you really?
I completely disagree with you. I'm excited. Tony Pollard, he's the nice thing about Zeke not stepping up as much as that gave room for Tony to step up.
I don't think that Tony Pollard is going to have room to step up this year.
I don't know. That'll be something interesting to look out for. You believe in Zeke, I believe in Tony. Something to.
Well, I can say that. I can say the same exact thing about both your running backs too.
About my Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Watch out for Madison. Although he was supposed to be big last year and he wasn't. Alexander Madison is good, and Derrick Henry Dalvin Cook has not played a year of NFL football without missing 3 games.
I was gonna say that's Cook's his Achilles.
Yeah.
What's that saying?
Yeah, you're right. It's his Achilles heel.
Achilles heel. Okay, cool. There.
And then Aaron Jones has got AJ Dillon right on.
AJ Dillon led the Green Bay Packers in rushing last year.
He did, which is why I'm staying away from Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see without Devontae Adams there what Aaron Rodgers decides to do.
Yeah, I got to give credit though to AJ Dillon. I wasn't very high on him heading in 2 years ago, but last year he proved me wrong.
He proved a lot of people wrong last year. But yeah, I just think that Zeke this is a big year for Zeke. I think this is a big year for Dak as well. I think that Amari Cooper leaving is good. I'm not high on Tony Pollard, so we'll see where that goes midseason. I'm not a fan of Tony Pollard personally. I think that if Tony Pollard really was all that, then he would take Zeke's job.
Fair point.
So and then my third pick was Brandon Cooks, who we talked about. I love Brandon Cooks. There's nobody else really on that team that's proven. They've got young guys. They've got a lot of running backs that can step up. They have Marlon Mack, who actually took later in this draft.
Damon Pierce.
Damon Pierce
out of Florida.
So one thing that I will say is that when we made these mock drafts, the Damon Pierce train had not started yet. Nobody really knew about him. So basically, if the whole draft would have started over, I would have just taken Damon Pierce instead of Marlon Mack in that spot. I'm excited to see what he does, if the hype is real or if it's fake. But yeah, Davis Mills is not the worst quarterback in the world. So
no, he's definitely not. I thought he was the most.
I
thought he was most underrated, and he was probably the best rookie quarterback to play last year.
You think that he was better than Goff?
Yes.
I don't think he was better than Goff.
Well, no, to play last year.
Sorry, not Goff. Mac Jones. I was thinking about Mac Jones.
I was like, he's better than Jared Goff.
I had Mac Jones in my head, and I said Jared Goff. Yeah.
No, Mac Jones. I mean, I feel you also got to put into factor like what the toys they got to play with, and the guys at the helm to lead that too. If you had Bill Belichick
his scenario, yeah.
Yeah, if you have Bill Belichick, Damian Harris, their wide receivers, they had some good guys, but they just did not have an aerial attack at all. And somehow Mac Jones was still able to be excellent as he was. But no, you know what? You're right. Davis Mills he was definitely number 2 though. There's no question in my mind. He played better.
I don't think that he'll end up number 2, but last year I think he was number 2. I think that Trevor Lawrence. We'll talk about that. Obviously, I took him as my backup quarterback, but watch out for Trevor Lawrence this year.
So anyway, continuing on with our draft picks, my next couple picks, I was keeping weapons. I got Aaron Jones. I got Cortland Sutton, another guy who I'm really high on, and I'm ready to see him play. He's dealt with an injury 2 years ago. Last year, he was kind of recalibrating, and he also drew Lock as quarterback with Teddy Bridgewater. Be ready to watch Cortland Sutton. He's a deep slot threat, and I'm excited to see him play. I got Dallas Goedert as my flex. I think the flex should be either filled by a receiver or tight end, because I think you have a better chance at receiving balls than running them as well. So,
I think that I 1000% disagree with you.
Really?
I think
because you have a receiver and is your flex.
Okay, well, yeah, but I took David Montgomery before I took Elijah Moore, so technically David Montgomery should be in the flex.
Technically. Well, yeah.
Wait, you know what's crazy is that now I'm realizing back when I did this draft, my picks went Derrick Henry, then Ezekiel Elliott, then David Montgomery, then Brandon Cooks. David Montgomery was my third pick.
Let's say you went 3 straight running backs to start.
I did go 3 straight running backs because running backs are insane. Yeah, David Montgomery should be my flex.
What's that saying you have?
Robust RB.
What the? I don't even know what that is.
RB is running. It's just what it's called. Running backs.
All right. Either way, though, yeah, I got my weapons loaded, and after I got a few weapons, then I went to the quarterback. We both had the same idea because two great minds do think alike.
Mm-hmm.
We went to our guy Matt Stafford. He won a Super Bowl last year. He was great with the team. Yeah, he had multiple three interception games. So what?
I think
was it 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions?
Yeah, Stafford went insane.
The interception total, yes, was high, but that's what you get when you got great weapons and you want to get rid of the ball and throw it all over the field. So I'm not going to hold him against that. I think Matthew Stafford, was the best pick and best quarterback on the board at that point too. If anything, maybe I understand drafting a quarterback before you get a flex player. But I like to get all my weapons in before I'm even considering a quarterback. But again, that's just me. That's how I look at fantasy football. So maybe you feel differently. But
no, I agree with you.
Yeah, I feel that after I get my weapons, then I can put in a general to lead that. And usually there's some good guys left. Some people like to go right out the gate and go, oh, I want Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert.
You know what's crazy actually is Aaron Rodgers is going late. Aaron Rodgers.
It makes sense. He has no wide receiver. He only has Alan Lazard, the only guy who's been
Christian
playing with
Watson,
him.
But
he has complete. He's complete new people, and he, as shown before, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that trust with new guys. So is it either going to be Matt LaFleur is going to say, hey, AJ and Aaron, be ready to run your butts off, or are we going to see Aaron Rodgers be able to communicate with his new receivers beside Lazard? So that'll be interesting to look into, and it makes sense why he's dropping.
Personally, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was just going to go back to Stafford.
Do it.
I think that this year the touchdowns go down, the yards go down, and the interceptions plummet, way down. I'm talking 5, 6
single digits.
Yeah.
Single digit interception.
I think so. I think that just 41 touchdowns. I think that I'm obviously not predicting. I'm just gonna go with an average. I'm gonna say he goes around 35, 36 touchdowns, 4,600 yards, and 6 interceptions is my prediction for this year.
Stafford is a bump up year. All right. I mean, I don't agree with you, but I can understand that.
Well, I think he's still going to have a great year. I think that I just don't think that Cooper Kupp gets the same kind of production.
Yeah.
I don't think Cooper Kupp has nearly the season that he had last year. He's still going to be good. He's going to be a number 1 wide receiver. He's probably going to be an all-star or an all-pro. Yeah, he's going to be a Pro Bowler. But I don't think he'll be all-pro, and I don't think he's going to get 2,000 yards again, which is why I think his yards will come down a little bit. But I still think Stafford has a great year. Also, fun to notice, Stafford is only 5 yards away from 50,000 yards.
Yeah, so he's going to get it in his first game. So
yeah,
unless for some reason his elbow.
Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt.
That elbow. So kind of finishing off, once I get all of those things settled, then I look at kicker and defense and / special teams. I'm not gonna, if I only get one kicker or one defense, I'm completely okay with that. I'm more or less focused on getting guys to back up my weapons because there are bye weeks and maybe there are matchups I don't like. So there's Saints were the best available. I went Saints. Justin Tucker, I think I'll have to admit, maybe what I just said was a teeny bit of a fib. I think I may have got Tucker before I got my flex and after Stafford, but a little earlier than I was saying. But I think if you go Matt Gay, I mean, kickers are going to be sitting on the board because majority of people let kickers sit. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have Bass, you're going to have Matt Gay, you're going to have Justin Tucker, you're going to have Chris Boswell on the board. There's no question.
Harrison Butker, you're going to have Younghoe Koo.
Exactly. There's going to be more than enough options for sitting there for you at least get one guy unless you're sleeping and you're auto drafting. So
my take on that is I'm fine to take a kicker high. I'm not taking him before my flex or any of my running backs, wide receivers, or quarterback. But I'm fine taking a Justin Tucker because kickers are going to get you a lot of points, and it does matter.
Yeah,
my one thing that I'm doing is that I'm taking defense with my absolute last pick in the draft. Because it's tough because it's well, people are saying that the Bills defense is the best defense in the league, right? They're the first team coming off the board. The Bills have the best defense. The Bills play Rams week 1. Are you really going to put the Bills defense in against the Rams week 1?
Yeah, that offense.
It's just tough because the Bills, who they say have the best defense, have to verse the Rams this year. They have to verse the Cardinals this year. They have to verse the Chiefs this year, the Bengals, and the Titans. And the Dolphins twice, who could be good. So it's just like they're really good, but I'm not comfortable with that. So I took the Ravens with my absolute last pick. And the reason I took the Ravens defense is because they play the Jets week 1.
Yeah, it's going to help you out. And the Ravens have a pretty good linebacking core.
And they do have good. Patrick Queen is really good. Well, he wasn't last year, but he'll be good. But I just think that Odafe Owe. Watch out for him this year. He's really good. But I just think that rather than take a defense and be like, this is my team, I'm sticking with them all year, I'd rather just take the defense against the worst team playing that week and just take my chances.
So for our bench, I'm pretty sure it just speaks for itself. You fill in guys where you think are going to step up and perform. I know, ironically enough, one of my first bench picks was Pat Freiermuth. He was the best Penn State tight end pretty much in recent NFL history. Last year, seven touchdowns. Jesse James, really?
Yeah, he's the best Penn State tight end since Jesse James. which isn't saying much.
I was gonna say Jesse. I was like, that's why I paused for a minute. I was like, Jesse James. No. So Pat Freiermuth, 7 touchdown catches. He had 600 some yards receiving. He's pretty good tight end. He dealt with a little injury at the end. A guy who I originally wasn't too high on, but as the season gets closer and closer, I'm starting to inch towards is Tua Tagovailoa. He is my backup quarterback. I only go 2 quarterbacks usually in a year. I don't try to do some. Maybe if depending on the situation, if I have to go 3, I will. But I 90% of the time go 2. So I got Stafford as my starter quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa is my backup. I got Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson for the Jets. I'm excited to see what he does. Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco starting or Mike White. I don't care. I'll put in Garrett Wilson there. And then my backup defense, as I mentioned before, usually with my last pick, I'll go second defense, and I went Chargers were available there, so I chose Chargers.
So the way that I draft my defense is my bench is that I draft based off of ceiling, which of these guys could absolutely go insane this year. So David Montgomery would be in my flex. So my first bench pick, I took Elijah Moore. Maybe Zach Wilson performs. Maybe he goes off. I don't think he's going to, but they don't really have anybody else other than Elijah Moore. I like the Breece Hall draft pick this year from them, and I like Breece Hall for fantasy this year. But I just think Elijah Moore, he's the only real receiving threat on that team other than Garrett Wilson, who is also very good. But he's not proven yet. Kareem Hunt, I drafted him in case Nick Chubb gets hurt, and that's pretty much it.
I like how you said that's just pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Not much there.
Devontae Parker, Mac Jones is going to have to throw to somebody, and it's not going to be N'Keal Harry.
It's Hunter Henry.
I guess, yeah. But
Hunter
I don't
Henry.
know. Devontae Parker. Marlon Mack would be Dameon Pierce. If I did it again.
If you did it now.
Dameon Pierce could be insane. Robert Tonyan, maybe Gronk likes Robert Tonyan, and maybe that's his only guy that he's comfortable throwing to.
Gronk? You mean A-Rod?
I can't believe I say Gronk. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams is gone. Who is he going to throw to? Tonyan's been there
he probably
a year or two.
Trust half those other guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe not having a solid tight end, as you said, a tight end is a quarterback's best friend. So maybe he finds trust in Robert Tonyan, and I think that could be a good connection between the two of them. So maybe if that happens, and then Trevor Lawrence, I just really like Trevor Lawrence this year as a quarterback. You said that 90% of the time you take 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that before this year, in all the past years I played fantasy, 90% of the time I only ever take 1 quarterback. I don't like taking a backup quarterback because if I get a really good starting quarterback, I'm going to feel bad having a good backup quarterback because then I know every week one of them isn't going to get to be on my team. And the risk of having one player go off and have them sitting on my bench just kind of scares me, except I love Trevor Lawrence this year. Christian Kirk is going to be good there. Marvin Jones.
They're paying him a boatload of money to be good.
They're going to pay him. Yeah, Christian Kirk, yeah. Etienne is good in the receiving game. They've still got James Robinson to run on the rush game. I can't believe that people are talking about how James Robinson's just not going to be there at all this year. I really
the door is metaphorically over there because this is a podcast. But yeah, if you're not high on James Robinson, then you can just leave now because I'll never understand.
I'm not as high.
And
I'm not as high on him as last year, but Etienne is
also coming off of injury too. You got to remember, you didn't see him as much last year, so you're only basing it off of what you've seen 2 years ago, along with the fact that he was injured last year.
Like we saw him have an incredible year being undrafted, and he's so good. And Etienne is coming off in the 3rd and 4th round. He's never played a game of NFL football.
Never ever.
He's coming off in the 3rd round. And I get that he's coming off injury too, but James Robinson has been there. He's the guy. So I guess maybe they're going to use Etienne a lot more, but it should be James Robinson. So I like Trevor Lawrence this year. I just think that he could have a pretty good year. So that's the reason why I drafted a backup quarterback, because if I'm going to draft a backup quarterback, it's going to be a guy like Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be a guy like Kenny Pickett. Probably not. It's going to be a guy like Mac Jones. It's going to be a guy like Justin Fields is a good example. Just like guys who we don't really know because they're young guys and haven't gotten a chance to prove themselves, but if they do, could go like what Justin Herbert did last year. It's exactly
oh my God.
Like I took Justin Herbert as my quarterback last year because he had 1 year, he won Rookie of the Year. He did really good, but you didn't really know what was going to happen. And I took him last year, and he ended up being the #1 fantasy quarterback. So it's guys like that where it's like I'm going to take them, maybe not as my starter, but as my backup because it's just like a what if. It's kind of like the guy who won my league last year took Lamar Jackson as his main quarterback, and then as a backup, just to be safe, he took Joe Burrow. And then Joe Burrow won him the league because Joe Burrow had only played like 6 games.
Yeah, he tore his ACL and watched it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Any who's or what's her, but no, that's a fair examination and reasonable understanding why you only go one quarterback. I mean, a lot of guys don't want to go a lot of different positions because they don't want to waste spots. They think, oh, I need backups for this and not this, so I'm not going to go for that. So, I mean, I'm definitely a 2 quarterback guy. I used to, when I first started fantasy football, I would have it was funny. I'm pretty sure I had 3 defenses. I was like, I need to be ready, but it's more or less you got to think, all right, reasonable. There's going to be more singular guys than defense that are going to get me points. So, either way, that was our first fantasy mock draft. We appreciate it. For the sake of interestingness, I wanted to save our second mock draft for a separate episode.
Yeah, that works for me.
I think saving it, and also it just makes. I mean, talking about fantasy football is fun, but only in small doses because we got some preseason to talk about in our next episode coming up. What we've analyzed, what we've seen, who we're excited for. We kind of give you a snippet here. We're going to have a guest for our preseason episode. So that'll be very exciting. First guest in a little bit. So we appreciate all the support. Everyone tuned in, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube. Again, thank you very much for listening. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, put in the comments if you want to hear something, say something, speak your mind. We appreciate all the comments, and make sure to follow us on Spotify. Joey, you have any last words?
I just can't wait for the next one. I want to talk about the second mock draft, but there's too much to go into. So to save it for another episode, I can't wait.
I can't either. We appreciate it all again, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.